Good morning, everyone. It's Tess, and today is tip 104. And today I kind of laughed because I think anything I'm going to share, anyone in the Dr. V Challenge has probably already come in contact with, because I'm going to say this is what Doc V has been doing with all of us these past months. What I did today is, for tip 104, I looked up how to get your whole family involved in gardening. And I did kind of laugh because a lot of these things I've been seeing through the challenge. But I thought it was kind of interesting and figured I would share it, because as many of us change seasons, it's a good time to maybe introduce new ideas to the family and make it a family affair. So the first thing that kind of came up is that I found an article from growjourney.com. And the first thing it said about gardening with your family is, if you have children, like this particular gardener every year sits down and kind of inventories the tools that they have, and they decide what tools they might need in the coming year, and then they go purchase them to get ready for the start of the season. But it said, take it one step further if you're going to garden with your kids this year, and identify a few tools so that they can have their own little gardening tools. That just makes it more fun, and it also, and I'm going to really kind of stress this, it also allows you to get tools that fit their hands. I know when I first started buying tools to do minor repairs at home, I had to buy tools that would fit my hand better, because some of these big drills just didn't feel comfortable. So I can see how that would be important for kids in gardening. The next thing that it talked about is provide the kids their own little garden plot, some area where they can do whatever they want in it. And that might be hard for controlling parents, but give them somewhere to be creative. And I think that's really a great tool. So first off, we know, give them their own tools. And second off, give them a place to investigate, create, and adventure inside their own little garden. It does also talk about, and let them make decisions inside that little garden plot. The third thing it talked about is include them in picking the plants. You do maybe want to guide them a little bit, and what you want to guide them towards is maybe faster growing plants, like lettuces and cherry tomatoes, radishes, peas, and snap beans. And the reason you want to kind of maybe hint at that and see if you can get them to tag on to one or two of them is because they have a shorter turnaround, and the kid will be more excited because they will see the growth. And yeah, and it's true. I get excited when I see growth too. So why wouldn't I think a child would? So 3 tips so far: give them their own. Give your children their own tools. Provide them their own section of the garden, and let them pick some plants. But try to help them in finding some that are quick growers, so they can get excited fast and stick with it. The fourth thing is, don't force it. If they're not up for jumping all in and getting their own tools, maybe you buy them a tool or two, but don't force them into their own plot. I can't even talk today. Plot. Let them maybe play with you a little bit, but if they have their own tools, they can naturally evolve to having an interest in it or not, but don't force it. And we all know that. None of us like to be forced to do anything, so don't force them. The next thing is, allow them to be creative. And I've seen a lot of posts lately about being creative. And what it kind of said is, let them plant in the shape of triangles or circles or squares, anything they can do to make it a little creative. And what I'll say about that is, I've recently saw an article where somebody planted sunflowers in the shape of a circle with just a little opening. So when the sunflowers got big enough, they actually would go into the center of the opening and enjoy all the sunflowers. And it was like their little private retreat. So it can be fun. So throwing a little creativity in there. Even now, my mom and I were talking yesterday, I'm going to go buy these teeny little, but I'm going to look for the teeny little stones and paint them to look like strawberries. And then one of my strawberry planters, I'm going to put those in because I saw an article that said it will discourage the squirrels and the birds. So I'll put them on one of them so that I can get some berries, and the other one I'll let free rein. But it kind of discourages them when they go try to pick it up and it's not a real berry. But I wouldn't ever want to hurt them or anything. So I'll do it in one planter and the other, and know that one of them they'll probably confiscate every berry, and maybe the other one I'll get the berries. But again, nothing harmful, because I don't want to harm any animal. The sixth one that they talk about is use this as a teaching opportunity. I know a lot for myself. I've been learning about, like composting, and, as surprising as it is, table scraps can compost, but they don't smell. How to make your soil stronger. And it even talked about like earthworms and going through an earthworm exercise, and Doc V has done that a couple of times now. So it is a learning experience. And I kind of laugh. I think the doc practices on us, and then he's got all the tools for his kids. But it's kind of a great thing because it's instilled an interest in all of us. So it's really a lot of fun. I myself, I am excited about the coming year because I've had, and this is long before me, I think it's probably 10 years of, there's rose bushes on my, and it's a narrow space between my house and the fence, but there's been rose bushes in the little section next to the fence for years. And those rose bushes, it's a great sun place, but those rose bushes always grow right out into the driveway. And I've had them rip close if I don't catch them fast enough, or if I walk into that section a little bit when I was heavier, it would rip close and stuff like that. So I'm going to take all of those rose bushes and put them on. I have a half fence in the backyard to kind of give some privacy to my patio area, because my patio and my garage are all attached. But I've got probably 6 different colors of roses, and I have one that's pink and yellow, and the other ones are shades of pink or red. And I'm going to intersperse them all throughout that half fence and let them grow up the one side, because that'll be really pretty. So I'm looking forward to it. And as it comes in, I'll share pictures of that, but we're really early in the season now. Well, the next thing, and I like this one, the next thing for getting your children involved is it talked about letting your kids make a trellis in the shape of a teepee. And then as the plants grow up, like your green beans or anything that you're growing up the trellis, teach them to kind of weave the plant into the trellis as it grows up. So that's kind of an exciting thing every day. I know even myself right now with my grandmother's peonies, every day I go outside and I kind of guide the base of them into, and I'm using tomato catchers. I'm not using peony catchers. I found those to be difficult because you've got like these wires and you got to hook them together and you got to put all these 3 prongs in, and it's too many moving parts, and it became a pain. So what I do is I use tomato catchers, and then I'll put really thin string that won't hurt the plant to hold the rest of them up in between, because peony catchers, I just found that they're not as stable as like a tomato catcher, but I kind of guide the plant so that they're coming up the middle. That way most of the flowers will be on the top, because those flowers are really heavy. Another thing that this article talked about is making it a family affair. I do that even now as an adult, and it is a lot of fun to share experiences or knowledge. And I've found through this process that there's a lot of things I didn't know that I'm learning now. And then the last thing is harvest. When it comes to harvest, as a family, harvest and cook together. And maybe one, that'll help them to know when it is time to harvest, and 2, what to do with these things that they've nurtured for all this time. So I guess what I'm going to do is I'll kind of recap what I just said, and this is about how to turn gardening into a family affair. Number 1 is get your kids their own tools, something that fits their hand. 2 is provide them with their own garden plot. Don't force them into it, but if they have an interest, give them a little area that's theirs to do whatever they want. Then 3rd is let them pick the plants. You might want to give them a few little hints for items that grow fast and get to harvest faster, so that they stay engaged and excited about it, but let them pick. Let it be their garden plot. The next one, and the quick to harvest, or the shortest duration to get to harvest, they talked about was lettuce, and I'll agree with that. I had like 13 types last year. Lettuce, cherry tomatoes, radishes, peas, snap beans. And my radishes I could pull those up right now too. I have some indoor ones I'll show you in a minute. Then number 4 was don't force it, encourage, praise, and thank your children for getting involved. And the 5th one was be creative. In their little plot, maybe let them plant in the shape of a triangle or a circle. And I kind of mentioned before, I saw where people were planting sunflowers in the shape of a circle, leaving a little opening so that when they matured, they could sit inside the circle to enjoy. They also talked about teaching about the earth and about how the circle of the soil and how to have nutritious soil. Dr. V does a lot with us in explaining how to make your soil as healthy as possible. I'm blessed that in the areas where there hasn't been a lot of poisoning. I don't poison, but of course when you're in suburban areas, you have neighbors that do a lot of poisoning. But my soil that is away from that is really rich. So it's really, really beneficial, and I'm grateful for that. Then trellis teepee, that's kind of fun and exciting, and the kids can get involved every day in wrapping their plants around it. Make it a family affair, just everybody go outside and enjoy together, and then harvest and cook together. So one quick through, because I know I'm chatting a lot today, but making your family affair, making gardening a family affair, give your kids their own tools that fit their hands, provide them their own garden plot if they're interested, but don't force them. Let them pick their own plants, but if you can, help them to maybe pick one or two that grow fast so that they stay excited and engaged. Number 4, praise them and thank them for their involvement. If they don't want their own plot yet, just let it evolve naturally, but don't make it something that they dread doing. Let them enjoy it. Let them be creative on if they want to plant in certain shapes. Teach them about the whole cycle of soil and keeping your soil healthy. And then maybe a trellis teepee, something that's, again, enjoyable for them to be involved in. Make it a family affair, and when it's time to harvest, everybody come together and take the harvest and cook it, so you see from seed to table, and that might be something really exciting for them to do. I'll take a second and I'll scan through my garden indoors that will go outside at some point, just to show you what I got started. And again, down here are some flowers I started. My Christmas cactus is getting ready to bloom. Those are green onions. That celery there, I actually just took the bottom of a package of celery I bought from the store. But if you can see, the celery's growing up in the middle of it. So at some point, I'm going to have to put that in the dirt. I've got my romaines. I've got my radishes. I've got my beets. So I've got all kinds of things started here. That's more green onions, Swiss chard. So I've actually gotten started indoors, and like I said, even in my case, it's a family affair. My parents share, I run across them, we run across what's going on and what I'm thinking about. They put in their 2 cents, and it's actually something we enjoy together. We're all watching for the day that the peonies come up, because those peonies are family heirloom that I've had in my possession for 30 years. My grandma's been gone for 30 years, and it's beautiful every year to watch them bloom. So I hope you find something in this. Make it fun, don't make it a chore, and you might be amazed at how much your family gets out of it. Thank you, have a beautiful day, and thanks, Doc V, for giving us all these tools, because everything I'm running into here, you've taught us already. So thank you so much, and have a great day.